I hope I've actually been made the full screen turn off setting.
Yes, yes, please.
Oh, okay. Just want to be sure.
So I see the share icon on your screen.
Yeah, I'm just seeing present and
If you
uh,
click present, click on it.
yeah, I have. I'm just trying to. It looks like this is not accepting because it's actually showing on another browser. I don't think it's allowing Microsoft there directly.
No, I
Let
think
me.
if you click on share, it will ask you to share your entire window, your entire screen or a window. So you could just do
Yes,
a
I know.
window.
I know. I'm familiar with sharing on this. I'm just wondering why it is not allowing. Um, Let me just see.
Yes, I think you are sharing now.
No, but it's not showing the exact slide that I needed to. Sorry, let me just get this down a bit.
No, no
Okay.
problem. Very much.
Okay, I've seen it. I've seen it. Yeah. Sorry. I hope everyone can see the slide now.
Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yes, we
Okay.
can.
So our topic is school administration in the 21st century. What are we missing? School administration in the 21st century. What exactly are we missing? Yes, I want to welcome you to my class. I've already been introduced, so I will not be spending time there. And I hope that you have your pen and your jotter. Please do not try to copy the slides. What you can do is just jot down what jumps at you, and then we can discuss later. What some people do is they try to copy the entire slides, and at the end of the day, they will not connect with what exactly it is that is going. So I'm going straight to the objectives of this class, which would be to understand the purpose and importance of administration in a 21st century school setting, to define what administration means to you in your school, and also to identify the gaps we have in school administration, and you can decide where you desire to be. Then, of course, we'll categorize some things that you do in your admin and decide what actually works best for you. So first, we do not have the privilege of time because we started a bit late, and I have another session. So I'm not. Yeah, I like my classes to be very interactive, but I will be doing most of the talking, and then we can take questions later. And I hope that is fine by you. Okay. Okay, so we're going to define what school administration really means. What does it mean? What does school administration mean to you? What exactly does it mean to you? Okay, so basically we'll define school administration in a layman's term as everything that has to do with managing the operations in a school. Everything that happens in a school, how it is managed, that is school administration. Okay, from the bus driver who goes to pick the children, who brings them to school, who goes with the bus driver. How much fuel do you use in a week? How much should you buy? How much should you not buy? Should you stop even using the bus driver at all, or should you stop bus service? What about lunch? Those are things that we do every day. How do we admit the children? Who attends to them at the front desk? Who is in charge of even the front desk person? How do we buy things? How do we manage the store? How do we just let things move? Okay, who assigns the timetable? Who decides how many people are going to teach in a class? Who decides who goes to which class? All of those are administrative procedures and processes. Okay, who do we buy from? Where do we buy uniform from? Who are we going to use? Why did we stop using the last person? Should we continue using them? Who does the after school activities? All of those are basically things that administration is involved with. And one of the things I have found out is that we make a huge mistake of thinking that if someone has excelled in the classroom as a classroom teacher, then they're automatically going to do well in school administration, and that's such a huge mistake. So one of the gaps I've noticed in 21st century administration is that we have people in administration who have not even understood the definition of administration. If I've been to schools where I ask the administrator, so what do you even understand by administration? And they'll just look at you very blankly. That's because they've never been mentored, they've never been coached, they've never been trained, even for the roles. They were probably doing excellently in the classroom, and in a bid to reward them for their excellence, the school owners decided, well, this is my staff. Welcome to admin, come and take over the administration. Then they get there and start fumbling because all of the knowledge gap and then the skill gap and everything begins to show to the whole world. And then they say, oh, this staff is no more performing. The issue is that you're now putting someone who is not trained for the position to come and, head a section of the school that is very critical and sensitive and can lead to the entire collapse of the system if it is not properly managed. So we're going to look currently at what are the things you currently manage as a school administrator? I would like to hear from you. What do you manage as a school administrator? So let's hear you. What do you currently manage? Can we hear you? Who wants to say something? Say something, say something.
Yes. In my own case, I manage the staff and basically the staff and the suppliers of things into the school system and how things go out. So that has been
okay, the supplies, that has to do with procurement, procuring things. In other words, there must be procedures to actually guide you on how procurement is even done, because that is an entire unit if it's a big organization and it forms part of the core admin of a school. Okay, so we're going to, because of time, I would have loved to hear from everybody here, but if we start hearing from everyone, we'll not end today because admin is such a wide area. It is so wide. So I'm going, like I said, I'm going to do most of the talking, okay? So just listen to me. So in a school, first of all, we established that school administration basically has to do with managing all the procedures, all the operations. That word operations, you must know what it means. All the operations in the school. And you manage people, you manage processes, you manage policies, okay, you manage things. So you manage people. If you're a head of school or a school administrator or a receptionist, a nurse or a student, as your school administrator, you're going to have to relate to the head of school. You're going to have to relate to the front desk people. You're going to have some business to do with the school nurse, the students, and the parents. You also manage things. You're going to be involved in the facilities. If you have a leaking roof there, they're not going to call a teacher. They're going to call you as a school administrator. And even if there's a facilities manager, most likely that manager works under the supervision of the school administrator. You have the school bus to manage, you have the payroll, you have your learning management system, you have your management information system, you have the timetable, scheduling to do, you have admission, how are children admitted into your school, who attends to them, what is the procedure. I'm sure there's no school where a child just comes through the gate and says, I like this school, then you come and sit down in the class and start learning. There's a procedure, there's a process, and there are policies even guiding how you admit the children. So you don't take a child of 2 years and say, please come to primary 3, I just like your face, because there are policies that actually guide your admission of students into the school. You have after school clubs, maybe football club, taekwondo, you have singing, ballet, and also the orchestra. You have to manage all this because the vendors will have to have contracts. You need to decide how many times they come in a week. You are going to allocate a section of the school where the training holds, where the club holds. All these are administrative procedures and decisions, okay? And of course, you have to pay them. You have to decide how much the school gets. Are you going to also use your teachers to do the after-school clubs? Are you going to use vendors from outside? All of these are administrative things, okay? And then, of course, you have a boarding house, and God help you if you have a boarding house. Those of you who run boarding houses, I'm sure you know what I mean. Very demanding. You have to decide how the people come, Who are the ones that have allergies? Which children do not eat crayfish? Who are the ones that don't eat pomo? Who are the ones that if you put crayfish in their soup, they will break out in rashes? Who are the ones that are asthmatic? Who has sickle cell? How do we attend to them? Do they need medical care? And how do we provide? What are the boundaries of the nurse concerning these people? Do we need a living doctor in the school, or do we take them to a clinic outside? Do we use a health management organization? All of these are basically things that will surround the boarding house administration. How often do we get reports from the boarding house staff? How do we even staff the boarding house? Who are the people that are coming to man the boarding house for us? How do we have an onboarding process for them? How do we even convince parents that we're taking care of them? How do we feed them? The feeding. How do we ensure that the teachers, the caterers are not stealing the food stuff and going home and befriending the gate man, and so that the gate man will not check them when they are going home? All of these are administrative issues. School events, who is going to plan? What events do we even have in a school year? Thanksgiving, Christmas concert, fun fair, graduation, move-up ceremony, Parents' Day, Teachers' Day, Staff Appreciation Day, Parents' Appreciation Day, Mommy's Day, Grandpa's Day, Halloween Day, Hamatan Day. All of these are events that happen in schools. And who is going to coordinate them? The almighty school administrator. Because even if you're delegating that to other people, the bulk of it still comes to you to ensure that the delegation is done properly and that everybody actually does their job. Fee collection. What are the policies around your finances? How do you collect your fees? You just come to the front desk and you allow parents pay to the staff, to the front desk officer, or do you have your policies? No cash collection policies. I'm sure by this time and this year, I don't want to see schools that are still collecting cash. If you cannot afford a POS, definitely there must be something else you can use. Either they can pay directly at the bank and bring the tellers here or whatever. But I think a cash collection is a no-no in 2022, unless your school is in the remotest of all villages where bank services have not even reached there. And I hope that's not the case for you. Who is laughing?
It's Mrs. Ogada.
The school lunch. How much do we charge? You know, in Nigeria now, when you buy food, by the time you get to the market the next day, the money has increased. How much do you charge for school lunch? Well, how is the money taking care of the lunch? Is it something you want to continue next school year? Do you want to scrap it? All these are decisions an administrator would take. This money these children are paying, is it enough to feed the staff, or is it enough to feed only children? Should the children eat breakfast, lunch, dinner in the school, or should we do only lunch? If it is only lunch, should we start serving them for more now that food is so expensive? Should we tell them they'll be eating beans 3 times a week now, instead of giving them spaghetti and all the other things that come on? So you need to decide all of these things. These are things that a school administrator is involved with, making decisions, deciding, looking at the procedure, looking at policies, looking at operations and everything, and saying, no, we can't continue with this. Yes, this is fine. Keeping records. What about your records? I've been to schools where they have no record of how many children are even in each class. And you'll be wondering what is going on. You need, like now, school is resuming. From the first day, you should be able to keep records. Day one, this is how many kids we had in each class, so that we start calling up parents. You don't know how many schools we are working to snatch your own. In Lagos alone, we have over 19,000 registered schools, from what I know. So if you think that you just stay there and be playing CC in your office and you don't even care how many children have resumed, till all the schools will snatch all your children away, you'll be there sitting down and looking very pretty. Please keep records. Keep records from day one. How many kids have resumed in grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, grade 4? If you're expecting 20 and you have only 10, what's happening to the other 10? You need to call, put a call across. It's still the administrator. Training. Who does the professional development of the organization? The school administrator. I remember in one of the schools, I was the one involved in the Association of International Schools in Africa, because we used to send our teachers out of the country on training. I had to do the administration and liaising with Kenya. Some years I had to go, and some we had to send other people, every year. It's still the administrator. If it is in-house training, The administrator will have to decide who are the ones that are fit to do the in-house training so that we save costs. And then if we're bringing in a consultant, how do we research to know that is the best person that we're bringing? How do we even, what's the gap needs? What are the gaps we have? What are even the topics we need to train on? Do we just see someone online and we like our face? We say, oh, we want to be associated with this consultant. There's a school I'm currently consulting for in Calabar. They said a consultant came and scattered the whole school, and now they brought me to come and clean things up. You know, maybe they just like her face, and they brought her, she came and scattered the whole, caused problem all over. You know, so you don't just bring people to train because you like them, you like their voice, or you like the way they look. Do they understand what to do? Do they know the job? Have they walked the path they are taking you to? Are they Google trainers, people who just go to Google and grab everything and come and pour at you? You know, so you need to know and research very well and come up with a training development based on the needs of your organization, not because you saw another school doing a training on a topic. You just go and grab it. How they're going to apply it in theirs, you don't know what led to their decision to actually get the trainer that they have. So you have to do your own specific in-house training, your training development based on your needs for your organization. And then, of course, recruitment. The administrator is also the one who oversees that. In some schools, you might have a human resource department that handles that directly, but ultimately the administrator is involved. So what are the policies around recruitment? You should have a no discrimination policy for gender. So if a female is the right one to take be a school nurse, or a male, and you see that they can do it, or why not? You should also be able to tell, based on your needs, what kind of what positions you need to hire, so that you're not overstaffed or understaffed, and you're also not getting in the wrong people. And of course, after recruiting them, the staff retention strategies, how do you work them out? Are teachers coming one door and going out through two doors? Today you employ 13 people, 15 people will leave your organization at the end of the school year, and you're wondering, what is going on here? Then you start organizing prayer fasting every day instead of doing a research. Yes, I believe in prayers, but I like to work with data. What is making them leave? Is there toxicity in the organization? Is there poor teamwork? What exactly do we need to do? Is our welfare poor? And that brings me to staff welfare. What welfare do you have in place? Things might be tough, but there are still some schools that have a good welfare plan. And when I say welfare plan, it's not always about money. I was talking with a mentee of mine. I had a coaching session yesterday with someone who was very bothered about his school and you know, how they could work on staff welfare. And I said it starts with the style of leadership. If people are happy to come to work, and you know, and then along the way things get bad for the employers, the employees are very likely to understand than in a place where there's a lot of toxicity and favoritism, and people are given staff welfare based on how much the leaders like them. So staff welfare should be something that you have policies around it and is clear how it is done. If you're choosing a staff of the year, you must know who are actually qualified, and everybody should be glaring. Everybody should know, and yes, these are the people who should have it. So in a nutshell, these are things that administrators are involved with, okay? So let's look at the core functions also. Of course, money. I've already mentioned school fees. I'm sure you know that has to do with money. Financial policies. Some schools function, no policies. All they want is how to bring the parents in. So if your school fees are even maybe 150,000, even if someone pays 10,000 deposit as a new parent, you say, just come in, we just need to fill up the place. At the end of the school year, you start chasing them all over. Then they carry your news all over to other people and start telling lies about you and carry your fees and run away. Please have policies in place. I've headed a school with over 1,000 students, and we have 100% fee collection. Yes, you heard me right. Because when I got there, they told me it was impossible. And I said, no way, with policies, we're going to have it right. On the day of checking in, I carried my chair, went to sit down at the checking in point. I was smiling. And I told them, sorry, you can't get in until your children's fees are paid, with a smile. And I keep a stern face. And they abused me. Oh, this new person has come with problems, blah, 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 blah. Did they pay? Absolutely. From then, people they began to know that I meant business. People told me they would withdraw their kids. They did not withdraw. But after 3 years in that school, we filled up the entire school and we had no space. because policies were the things that we're responding to, not sentiment. So when it comes to money, listen, if you don't have money in a school, you're in trouble. And if your money is in the hands of parents, they'll treat you like, the way they want. So you have to have financial policies to guide all your operations. If you do not have financial policies, then the parents will define what their own financial policies are towards you. And that's how they're going to treat your school. By the time I was leaving, one of my recommendations was that the school board should consider building a new block because we had a wait list. And that's because I had to treat the parents with policies. They were not used to it, but they had to line up. Did they like my face initially? I don't think they did. Do they appreciate it now? Absolutely, I can tell you because I hear from those people, even now. Communication, how do we communicate? It's still the administrator who does this. Are you using WhatsApp broadcast? Do we do emails? What is the style of communication? Emails to parents, newsletters, yearbook, the administrator, sending memos, making sure announcements are made, forming little WhatsApp groups for the organization, admin team, you have your group, maybe the management team, you have yours, the entire school, you have yours, boarding house team, so that information is passed, very readily. And you must decide what works for your organization. So it might be bulk SMS for some, it might be emails for some. I've always done emails because there are things that you can always track, especially for very official things. And when there are little flimsy announcements that, I just want people to take their time to read, we can do WhatsApp, we can do bulk SMS or whatever. Of course, marketing and business development. Your school has to grow. You must have a plan for its growth. How are you growing? Were you 150 last year and this year you're now 110? And then you say, oh, my village people have come. Please get into the details. What's making the numbers go down? How do we market? Do we use social media? Do we go with conventional radio and TV announcements or newspapers or whatever? Do we do word of mouth? Are we going to employ a marketing executive who works on commission? What are we going to do about our customer service to make sure that we line up to what people want in developing this business? Those are things that you have to look into in admin. It's also an admin function. Health and safety. I understand that in some schools, when a child is ill, the teacher will just pour water on the child and say, no, my child, sorry. And then they bring Panadol and they administer to such a child. I hope that's not the case in your school, because you must understand safety, child protection and safeguarding. You must understand health and medicals, and all of these must be guided by policies. Okay, do you have a health management organization that your school subscribes to? I worked with HIJA in some of the schools that I did, and so I would subscribe for medicals, okay, access from the health management organization, and that entitled us to, based on the premium that the school was paying, entitled us to medical care up to even surgeries. And at the end of the day, it really worked for us. Then human resource, how do we manage the people, okay? How do we manage them from recruitment to, welfare? All of those things fall under that, okay? Policies. There are certain policies every school must have. And in 2020, as an administrator, or from your slip, you should be able to know all the policies that must be in your school, from health to financial to child safety and protection, medicals, things around technology, use of internet. Don't carry people's children and dump on the internet or on social media and be showing their faces without the parents' permission. You should be able to tell all of those kind of policies. Anti-bullying policies, okay, and things around the use of maybe mobile phones. Teachers should not use mobile phones in the classrooms and things like that. What about their performance? You should be able to create an employee performance management system. It's one of the trainings that I do so well in a lot of schools. And believe me, you need to do that very, very well. Okay, you need to know what the goals are and set goals for every employee based on your vision and your mission, and also be able to lead them in the process and support them to achieve those goals. And of course, be able to assess them, appraise them, evaluate them periodically, which could be at the middle of the school year and also towards the end. So it's one of the services that I offer to schools, because I've developed a 6-step process for performance management in schools, tested and tried over the years, and is working for every school where I have taught this. Okay, so facilities, what happens? How do we paint every year? Or do we allow the paint to just stay? Do we just touch up? How do we get the staff to maintain them? If the AC in your class has a problem, who do you report to? Do we have forms? Where do we have processes for this? Who are the vendors that handle this? What is our relationship with the vendors? How often do we service our ACs? How often do we service the computers? How often do we update our software? What of the furniture? Do they need to be resprayed? Remember that the facilities form the learning environment of the children, and whether or not they are well maintained will actually impact on their learning. So if a child is sitting on a chair that is wobbly and then falls down and breaks his head, that is not to the credit of your school. I went to train in a school once. I don't want to mention the name of the school, but it was a very embarrassing thing. I was very excited as people were hugging me and taking pictures and trying to start the session. I just sat down and honestly, the chair, I fell down. If not for the grace of God, my whole skirt would have been raised in the air. That's how bad. And I said, this is the facilities manager. I didn't know that a trainer was coming here. What's going on here? I actually felt that, and I'm not kidding. That's facilities management. What was the administrator doing? What were they doing? What were they doing? Putting a chair in the training hall, especially where the facilitator was going to sit down, a wobbly chair. Okay, what if I had fallen and had an injury or something, you know? And then, of course, customer service. How satisfied are the parents? Who are even your customers? Are you aware that there are external customers and internal customers, and that your parents are customers, the children are customers, and your employees are also customers? And that the way you treat your internal customers will have an impact on the way that they treat the external customers. Who are your vendors for uniforms, for furniture, for food, for stationery, you know, your printing papers, your print ink, and all of that. Events, we already talked about that. What about academics? What are the procedures and policies around academics? Okay, all of these will be determined by the administrators, not necessarily the one with the position of the school administrator, but working hand in hand with the administrative team. Okay, and in this case, of course, the head of programs or the VP academics or principal will be very involved in planning that with the school administrator. We've also talked about admissions. Now, managing relationships, okay, with the parents and with the various places like the Ministry of Education, quality assurance, and all of that, being members of maybe a corporate organization, all of these are actually handled by the school administrator. We talked about boarding and providing pastoral care and school events, purchasing and procurement. You know, there are some schools where someone just goes there and says, oh, we need pen. You know, say, talk to my daughter, let her just buy pen for you people. No record, nothing. So at the end of the school year, you don't even know how much you have spent buying things. There must be proper procurement procedures with approvals done for every purchase, and then received properly into the store. And in the store, you must have an inventory so that you know what is going down and what is actually still available. And then you should know when to buy, when not to buy, when to restock, when not to restock, when you have even overstocked. You must be able to tell all of this, okay? And there must be proper records. I always recommend that the procurement department or the stores especially gives feedback and gives a report, probably in Excel, on a weekly basis, and then at the end of the month do a proper report, and also do an end of term report that guides you on the things that you'll also now have to replace. Okay, welfare records. What records you need to keep? What are the recommended records from the Ministry of Education? What are the ones based on your own peculiar vision and mission? What records must you keep? Okay, training and development, I already talked about that. Outbound relationships, I talked about that when I was managing this. There's something I didn't mention when I was talking about money. You need to learn how to budget. On my last job, I was the head of schools, the principal, head of elementary, head of primary, all reported to me while I reported to the board of directors. So the budgeting was done by them first with their teams, and then they'll bring it to me. They'll bring their budgets to me. I'll then work with the finance manager or the school accountant, so that we put everything together for me to make a presentation to the board for approval. So managing money is one of the reasons that a lot of school owners do not allow the administrators to get involved, because they're always making demands, but they never know how the money goes. Okay, so you must learn some business acumen around managing a school. It's not just about children passing exams. If all the teachers are teaching with passion oozing from every fiber of their being, and everybody says our curriculum is the best, we are the best, oh, British, America, and then you don't have money to continue that curriculum, believe me, you only have a time bomb ticking in that your system. Very soon you start hearing anybody who wants to buy this school, there are people there who are interested. We want to sell a school in the Yanikwaja. There's a school in the Lokoja. We're wanting a buyer. Or it all has to do with managing money. So you have to learn this. You're not running a philanthropy. So don't let parents come and ride on you. They pay for other services. They pay to make their hair. As they're coming to tell you, please, don't drive my child away. We'll pay. They don't say that to the person who makes them up every day to go and party. They don't say that to the person who makes their hair. They have their nails all manicured. They don't do it on credit. So why should education, which is so important, be on credit? Don't give it on credit. Ask for your money and ask it very well. And if they cannot pay your fees, do not be reluctant to let them go. Okay? You are not the one who caused the problems of Nigeria. This is the reality. You have to run a business. And I say that with all conviction. All right. So now also as a school administrator, you need to understand your school's vision, mission, and core statements. What are your core values? Do all the staff understand your vision, your mission, and your core values? Do they know the strategic plan you have for the school? Some people, if you ask them, what's your school even? We don't know. We don't even know. I've been to schools where even someone recommended me for consulting in a school in Abuja, and I got there to have a meeting with the owner. And one of the first things I asked was, you have a really nice environment. Please, what's the vision of your school if we're going to work together? Because I would need to know how to tweak it. They said, my dear, that vision, my wife wrote it somewhere. It is somewhere. There's a place where she wrote it. I will go and look for it. And this is someone who comes to the school every day, commanding the staff, telling them what to do. And he doesn't have a vision. That made me really sad, So you must understand the vision, the mission, and the core values that you have. What makes you unique? What's your unique, your unique selling point, okay, as a school? What is your school structure? So it is from all these functions that you now build your school structure. Let me tell you, in as much as I love the American system and the British, I tell people that you cannot copy the exact school structure and come and replicate in Nigeria. Our problems are very peculiar. Don't let anybody deceive you. You cannot just see an organogram, they say this is how they do, you come and do like that. Is their purchasing system, is it the same thing? You have to do what works for your system in as much as you understand what works out there. So I tell people that for your structure, yes, the school, the people under academics, the person who handles academics should actually, they should work hand in hand with the administrator, and both of them should report to the director. The reason being that if the people in academics who focus on only academics handle the resources and other things in the school, there'll be a problem. You need someone, the administrator, who has the business sense to bring in that balance. Because like I said, no matter how well the academics is doing, if administration is not doing well, there'll be a problem. There'll be such a huge imbalance in the school, okay? So based on all these functions, like I said, you now get your structure. So you have, from your structure will come various positions. Usually if you have a school board, the head of school and the administrator will report to the school board. And you might have someone who is the academic and learning manager, or what you call the programs manager. You could have a marketing and customer relationship manager, facilities manager, store and logistics manager. All of this will depend on the size of your school. So don't start copying this now. If you have a school that is just 1 year old, you start having big positions and employing everybody. Like I've said, do what works for your school based on your age, based on your location, based on your fee structure and the environment where you have found yourself. Okay, so don't copy verbatim what happens in another school. You don't know who is funding them. You know, you only know your own, okay? So you might have the facilities manager, bus drivers, the teachers, of course, admissions officer or registrar, nannies, caterers, school nurses, janitors, hostel or boarding house marshals if you have a boarding house, the accountant, the bursar, the IT manager, and of course, several other positions, okay? So basically you have the academic operations, administrative, and then of course some core admin, okay? What policies do you have in place in your school? You need to think about it. What policies do you have? Is there medication and safety, child protection and safeguarding? Policies are not sentiments. You rule your school. Always remember that. And you can say to yourself over and over as an administrator, policies and not sentiments. Policies and not sentiments. Okay, process. These three P's must never leave your vocabulary as an administrator. Policies, processes, procedures. They must never, operations. Those are words that must be ringing in your ears every day. So you also need to put checks in place. Is it the same person who makes requests, that places the orders, purchases them, receives them, and dispenses? So how do you ensure that there's no cheating? How do you know where in your system there are leakages? I have good news for you. On my last job, in 3 years that I worked there and brought processes that people did not like, we saved the organization about 38 million naira in our operations and everything we were doing. That's because there were lots of places. If people buy hand wash and buy them in quantities, and stock in the store, some will expire, and they just keep buying and buying, and there were no checks. And usually, if you're an administrator, please never be afraid to take those decisions that will make people not like you, especially when they are right and professional. You just do the right thing, okay? If the organization has been wasting money on certain things and you feel that you have an alternative, do not be afraid to recommend them. That is what it takes to run a school. And you have to always think sustainability. And so you cannot be part of the people wasting. If you can change from paper to paperless, please do it. And then check how much you have saved in that period. Okay, so it's not everything you print, a minute of letters you just print, be pasting it on every notice board in the school. No, 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 no. Put checks in place for wastage. Well, how are you wasting? Every stage of your procurement, every stage of usage of anything, ensure that there's no wastage. But do not also deprive them of the resources they need to work. There has to be a balance. So who makes the purchases? Who does the approval? What is the process for approval? On my last job, nothing was bought unless I appended my signature. And that's after my administrative officer has gone round to the stores to say, yes, this thing is no more available. The request they have made is genuine, and she'll give me evidence based on the inventory. So I will cross-check that before I say, yes, we can buy this or we can replace your laptop. I must be sure that the last one there is either damaged, it can no longer be used or repaired, or it has maybe whatever it is, if it's something that expires or whatever. And if it has expired, I will question why it was bought in such a large quantity that it was left to expire. You have to have an ownership mentality towards the business, because if it's not sustainable, all those people telling you you're too hard on us, you're being too mean with resources, they will go and look for other jobs. Hello, somebody.
Hello, hi, Ma. You're right.
Am I making sense?
A lot.
Yes, so a lot of
Thank
sense.
you, Ma.
All right, so the academics, what are the various processes involved in managing the academic activities and performance of the students? You have to know, okay? Or are they having after, maybe some preparing them on Saturdays? What's the procedure? How do you ensure the children are safe? I hope it's not a male teacher taking only one female child, and the next thing you hear that they are touching her little breast or caressing her or wanting one thing that goes on, and then the next thing your school is in the news. So whatever processes there are, whether with the students, whether with the staff, whether with pupils in early years, primary or whatever, you must ensure that there are things you can keep an eye on, okay? All right. So whether it's their break time, ensure that there's proper supervision. How do you have, what break time do they have? How do they balance between academics and play? How do we ensure that the academic performance we've had over the years is maintained? Of course, the administrator works with the academic team, the faculty, to ensure that these things are in place. How do we admit students? Okay, how are the students admitted into the school? How is the student life cycle managed in the school throughout their stay? Okay, who gives them uniforms? Who does their orientation? Who looks out for them? Who cares about their mental health? Is there a guidance counselor? When they're admitted, how do we manage the whole process? Like now, schools are almost resuming. What do you have in place to receive the new students to make them settle in? The ones who are still coming for admission, how are you treating them? How are you handling the relationship with their parents to ensure that you are their school of choice? And how do you even manage them? You treat them like a man who was a woman and makes her feel like the queen of the world. And the moment he gets her, that is the end. So woo the parents and also woo the students, but keep wooing them through their life cycle, through great customer service, okay? After school clubs, by now you should have compiled the list of the after school clubs that you're going to have, and you have contacted their vendors, and you've probably made a booklet that has all of them with the advantages of what the kids stand to gain for being part of it. And also the prizes and when they are meant to pay and how many times in a week you are going to be having the meetings. Are the meetings going to be on Tuesdays and Thursdays? Is it once a week or twice? What do they stand to benefit from doing taekwondo, from doing karate, from being, there's a new football club, an international organization that is in Nigeria now. Is it Coeva or something? You might want to check them up. If you follow me, please ask me when I share my number with you, ask me about it. It would be nice that you give them a chance in your school. They are doing quite well in a few schools in Abuja already. So what are the after-school clubs that the school offers? How are they managed? Procurement, how do you buy your items? Is the process effective? How do you buy your uniforms? Are you still importing uniforms from the UK and US despite the dollars? Are you making them locally now? How about going to Balogun market and buying the thing in bulk, buying the uniform fabrics in bulk and getting a good outfitter, telling them your specifications? Instead of buying everything, must everything be imported? With the dollars now, is it easy for you? How are you coping? What about books? Which books are you buying? Well, your branded exercise books, who is producing them? Have you compared the price with other vendors? Or is the person just using sweet mouth and telling you, this is the best? And it's not. You should have at least 3-4 vendors for everything you do and compare notes. Compare them. Which one is cheaper? Can we get the best quality for the cheapest price? Why will you appreciate relationships with vendors? Don't get into a system where they now start cheating you. Compare prices before you make your decision and let them know. What about your foodstuff for lunch? Do you even want to continue with lunch? Was the money they paid for lunch last year enough to do the school lunch? Are you just doing it for doing sake? What about technology? Are you choosing the learning management system because another school is using it or because it is functional in your own system? Have you trained your teachers how to do it? What about cleaning materials? How about you even train the home economics department to start cleaning, to start making your hand wash and producing cleaning materials there to save costs? Things are tough in Nigeria. Don't let anybody deceive you. So don't be doing big man school. They have always done it like this. You can get the same containers, buy the materials, let them make it in large quantities and be pouring it into the hand wash and putting in the toilet. Okay, what about stationery? Where do you buy them? Have you checked the prices in 3 or 4 bookshops or suppliers to be sure that what you're getting is the best buy? School lunch. What are the processes involved in ensuring the school lunch is adequately served on time and in a hygienic manner? What about the catering staff? Do they do food handlers tests? Or are they just there? Do they cover their hair? What's the hygiene around it? How do you ensure that? Okay, is it that when the children are eating their lunch, they now see that there's a fly, extra protein in their soup, or there's extra hair, somebody's hair from their gari or semo that you're serving them? staff welfare, medical, health insurance, pension plan, allowances, rewards, and perks, the ones that you can afford to the best of your ability. What are you doing? And when you cannot afford this, what is your attitude towards it? You at least give them hope that someday when things are fine, things will be fine. How are you recruiting the best staff you can? What are the strategies for staff retention? How is the staff turnover? Why are some people coming before you know it, they have left? There was a school I worked in, even me, I left after 1 year. When I saw that up to 13 people were resigning, I said, is it? They said that's how it is every year. I said, no wonder, even me, I want to go. This environment is just not suitable. So you have to know what's making your staff not stay. What are your staff? What are your intentional staff retention strategies? What are you putting in place? What is the performance of the staff in your school? What are the strategies for staff performance? Who evaluates who? Some people don't even know who their line manager is. You get to a school, you say, who evaluates? You say, nobody. They're just working. They're just working for the school. You just be going round and round emotion, year in, year out. You cannot, in admin, it's very easy to come and sit down and meeting granola and gisting every day. At the end of the year, you say, I'm working so hard. You need to see the results. How do we keep an eye on what you are doing? And how do you even determine that, yes, this is what I have achieved this school year. This is what I achieved in first term, second term, third term. So you must have goals, clear goals for the school year, broken down into terms. And you do it for the staff as well. So nobody's just coming to work and minding time and marking time and going. You must be able to tell when someone is performing and when they are not. And aside from that, or what you can see tangibly that they are achieving, you should also check their attitudes. How are they behaving with other staff members? Do they have a team spirit? Do they come with toxicity? Is this someone who comes behind, just sneaking to be telling on everybody and getting credit for everybody's job? You need to mind all those people on your team and keep an eye and be alert and be sensitive to what is really going on. What is the effort you're making, your school makes at marketing? Who are those directly in charge of the functions? What technology is used in your school? Who are those in charge of it? What management software are you using? Which ones are you using for learning? Facilities. Who are the school facilities? How are they managed? Facilities. Who are those directly in charge of this? Vendors administration. How are the vendors managed? Who are those directly in charge? Do they have policies guiding their interactions with your school? Do you have contracts? What about the outbound relationship? How are the relationships with the outside world managed? Ministry of Education, Quality Assurance, maybe if you're in Abuja Schools Association, if you're in Lagos, maybe if you are a member of NAPS in whatever city you are in or whatever state, who are those directly in charge of interfacing with the outside world concerning your school? When the Ministry of Education visits, whose office are they entertained in? You must have policies around this and train the people to be able to meet up to whatever expectations are. What are the policies around outbound relationships? Can teachers just wake up and call someone from the ministry to give them information? Does it pass through admin? What about relationships with staff? How do you allow teachers relate to the parents? Okay? How do you manage that? We must have policies around that. I talked about money earlier. What are your processes and procedures for money? What are your fee collection procedures and policies? How do you spend? How are salaries paid? In the bank, are you still paying by hand? What of reimbursement? What if a teacher says, oh, I like these resources, I was at a workshop, I just said, let me buy 30,000 naira worth. What's the process? Should they call you first before they do that? Do they just buy and come and give you a receipt and say, I bought this for the school? No. How do you manage that? Despite that is a good thing, don't you know it can be abused? How do you manage all of that? Okay. What are the various items or services you receive money for? School fees, uniforms, after school clubs, what else? Some people do branded exercise books. Some even supply the textbooks by themselves. Some do school lunch. So you must be able to itemize all the areas that money comes in, the cost areas, okay, the money income areas in your school. What are the places money comes from, and what are the areas that money goes out of you from? For even uniform, money comes in, it also goes out. But the balance should be that at least 30% of it stays back in the school. For everything you do, the markup should be a minimum of 30 that stays back with you, but you should not keep it at 30. You can stretch it beyond, the better for you. But for a start, as you're trying to break even, everything you do, uniforms, if you're buying the materials, the sewing, everything is so amount. You should be able to top it 30% as the price. Minimum, I didn't say that should be the standard, but I'm saying minimum. It should be nothing less than that. If you're getting money for lunch, you should have some of it remaining for you. So if you're not making anything from your lunch, you want to have a meeting and review what you spent on your school lunch last term or the whole of last school year and decide whether it is worth continuing in the new school year, whether you want to increase it. And don't be sentimental about it because the parents know how they're also feeding their own children in the house. It's not easy. So what are the various items that you receive money for and what are the various things that you spend money on? How is it done? What are your financial policies? How is your customer service? What is the feedback from your parents? Do you have happy customers or are they sad and grumbling? How do you communicate with the parents? Is it effective? How do you communicate with the staff? Is it effective? Or does the grapevine take over? Before you can even make any announcement, they've already gone, trip. The administrator said it. You say to one person, the next person goes spreading it. As you now send your formal announcement, there's trouble. Everybody say, no, we were told that this. Who are all those people that are always telling? Who are they? You have to rebuke that spirit of they in your system and communicate properly this year. All these should be people that will talk. Let you communicate. When there's no communication, the grapevine will replace your communication. Anytime the grapevine takes over, you should know that you're not communicating enough as a school administrator. There must be ongoing communication about every vital matter. School administration is a full-time job. You can't do it part-time. You cannot do it part-time. It's very demanding, I have to tell you, and I speak from experience. Okay, so now I need us, I've been doing all the talking. So apart from that, you also need to have an admin audit. That you've learned about administration is not enough to have a beautiful school building or facilities. You must audit each of these aspects we have talked about and to ensure that you have the right administrative or management framework. And then your admin style must align, all the actions you take as a school must align with your school brand. And this aligns to being dynamic, agile, and responsive as a school administrator. Thank you for my TED Talk, coming to my TED Talk. I think they won't be talking. Okay, so this is a recap. School administration has to do with managing all the operations in the school, and you wear many hats as an administrator. You must have processes for managing all the operations that occur in a school. You manage people, you manage processes, you manage things, you manage resources, you manage policies, okay? And then, of course, what skills do we think we need to perform as school administrators? I already mentioned some of them: budgeting skills, communication skills. In addition, you need to have skills for building a team. And in building a team, you have to understand people. What are their temperaments? You should be able to do a study of the DISC personality styles, okay, behavioral styles. There are some people who are very dominant on your team. They will talk and talk, very loud. And then you have the ones who are the influencers, who are the likable ones. I don't want to go into details because this is not about the D personality types. This is just talking general admin. But it would be nice to do that for you in some other training. Okay? And the things we have observed in school administration now is lack of professionalism and lack of preparation, like I said earlier, putting teachers to become administrators. You cannot wear that hat without training, okay? It comes with training, it comes with being mentored, it comes with studying and learning. But if you just move from the classroom and then you become the madam, you're going to be very frustrated because the skills you need in the classroom you have in the classroom are not exactly what's needed at the management or administration level, okay? So lack of professionalism and lack of preparation, inadequate or no professional development, and then a huge knowledge gap. And that knowledge gap can be filled by training, by mentoring, by coaching, and also by reading the right books, being around the right people, and having people model it for you and learn. I'm currently in Abuja. I'm recruited a new school administrator. I had to be around to put her through what is required, how to do the job, and mentor her through the process. It takes mentoring. Such a person will be performing at a different skill level from someone who was just moved from the classroom to come and start administration and then start Bob. And that's when people now start bossing. Don't you know I'm your madam? Anything I say you must do. And meanwhile, all the people are seeing that what you're doing is wrong. But because you've never been trained, you don't even know where to go, how to go about it. So get mentored, get trained in administration, okay? All right, so I'm going to, there are two more things I need to talk. I think there was something I missed out here. Okay, so you might need to write down all the core areas you are involved with in your school, and then to also write the areas where you need to improve. I've mentioned several things. I had to put this lecture in just, I think, 1 hour and 30 minutes, is it? Yeah, we started a bit late, over an hour, but this is something I do for hours. I take, these are the full day's training for new administrators to welcome them to admin and to let them know what is involved. So each of those areas, we normally go into in-depth, sharing and then exercise, making them brainstorm how they're going to go about those areas, depending on their own peculiar school. Like I said, what works in one school may not necessarily work in another, okay? And then if you need to have an audit of your organization, I would be very glad to offer that service. So let's look at this now. What have you learned from this class? I need you to start writing them down because I'm going to be calling people to share once I stop sharing the slides. What have you learned from this class? So put down your answers. What will you do differently? Write down your answers. What aspects would you need help with? Write down your answers as well. 3 things that, excuse me, I need you to do. 1, what have you learned from this class? Write it down. Number 2, what will you do differently after this class? Write it down. Number 3, what aspects would you need help with? What gaps have you noticed? Which areas? Is it procurement? Is it in your policies? Is it in your boarding house? Is it in your procurement? Okay. Is it in managing relationships or team building? Remember, admin is vast. Is it in your financial policies or budgeting, managing your finances generally? Just write it down and be very open with yourself, okay? All right. We've already done the recap. Okay, and then you also need to reflect on what skills that you think you need to be able to perform your job excellently as a school administrator, okay? I'm sure you're writing by now. Are we writing? Hello?
Yes. Hi.
This
What
one.
has been a useful session for you?
Of course, yes.
Of course. It has always been with you. It has always been.
Okay. So now I have my COSA cohort 4 starts in January, and it's actually 70,000 now. I wrote this quite a while ago. It's 70,000 now, but if you're in this class and you're paying ahead of time to secure your place for the January cohort, you have a huge discount and you'll be paying just 59,500 before others start paying 70. So if you like to have this, you let me know. I'm going to share my details very shortly. So connect with me on my website, www.nancyekpezu.com. And this is my WhatsApp enabled line, +234 803 5880367. On Facebook, I'm Nancy Ekpezu. On Instagram, I'm Nancy Ekpezu. And you can email me at info@nancyekpezu.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn at Nancy Ekpezu. You can connect with me on Twitter at Nancy Ekpezu. And this is both my phone number and WhatsApp enabled line. If you get to my website, it will give you a link to all the other places you need to connect. Or if you get to my website and say hello and introduce yourself, then I can also share other details. And please also subscribe to my YouTube channel. You get free tips there. I share on administration when I'm free. I'm a very busy person, but whenever the spirit catches me, I will get on the screen and just start sharing, and then I'll record it and put on YouTube. I don't sit down to plan all those videos. I don't have all that much time. But as much as possible, people are giving me a lot of feedback, how much they've been blessed, how much they've applied the things that I've shared on YouTube, and how it has changed their practice in school administration. And if you can get all of those free on YouTube, then you can imagine what it's like to have it in a paid program that is organized to suit you and prepare you for school administration in the Connected School Administrators Academy COSA, which holds every Saturday. And that is it. Thank you. Thank you. So COSA is the Connected School Administrators Academy, and it's a 3-month program that I do. The last cohort is August, September, October. We're ending in the first week of November because I gave them 1 extra week. And the next cohort starts in January. We do 3 cohorts in a year. We started in January, and this is the 3rd and last cohort for the year. So like I said, if you want to be a part of cohort 4, which starts in January, and it will be 70,000 naira. But for being in this program, this yellow one here is the amount you'll be paying, which is 59,500 only. Pere, 59,500. Yeah, so that is it. All right, so let's hear your questions and your comments now. I think I can call it a day. So sorry I had to rush this because I have another session after this, which is my academy. My academy starts at 7. So wow. I have to make sure that I finish everything. So I'm meeting with those in my paid program. We meet every Saturday, and they're not pre-recorded sessions. They're actually live. So they interact with me one-on-one. Sorry, we couldn't make this very interactive because we just had to go through that. But I hope you were able to pick tips that will help you. Right? Rose did your daddy, but she's just looking at me and wondering, who is this woman? Thank you so much for being here. I can see faces I know. And thank you so, so much for being here. Thank you. Oh, she will made it. She's here. Nora follows me everywhere I go. All right. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you. Thank you. Is Isaiah here? Yes,
Thank
Isaiah.
you so much, Miss Ekpezu.
Also in the meeting I had in the morning. Thank you to everyone who has made it here. Thank you. I really appreciate sharing. So let's hear from you now. What have you picked from here? This is almost 6 o'clock, so let's hear from you. Okay, Soraya says, good presentation. How often do you think school policies should be reviewed? You should review your session, your policies. Actually, policies should be reviewed every school year. And I'm not saying talking about changing the whole thing, but reviewing what worked, what didn't work. And that means you should have a journal where you save things. If you have a journal, and if you've been telling me I shared something about owning a diary, you should have an administrator's journal where you jot down things that are not working, what is working. At the end of the school year, you should be able to go through them and say, oh, this policy worked this year very well. You should have a meeting where you are praising your policy. Which ones the teachers break the most, or all the staff keep breaking? Why do they break it? What does it mean? Sometimes you can start a policy out of anger and just put a policy, and from now on, nobody should pass through this side of the school, blah, blah, blah. Such policies hardly work because they are usually born as very reactive. And so the same way you're angry and reacting like that, the staff will also be giving it back to you. So when you have calmed down, you need to know, why exactly did I create this policy? What led to it? How can we make sure that it is followed? you know. So this is from starting writing policies out of anger. It's going to show in the way you write the words, in the way it is framed, okay? And that's very reactionary. Are you getting me? And you have to be very mindful. So such policies need to be reviewed at the end of the school year. You sit down. Why did I even write this policy? Why is it working? Why is it not working? Was it done as a reactionary response to something that happened, but it's no more happening? Do we still need it? Are you getting me? But ideally, every school should have, there are certain policies that every school must have. Child protection and safeguarding is a standard for every school. Medicals, health, okay, security, safety, those are standards. Finance. So then you can now have policies that address your own internal problems because every school is unique, okay? Your school may be located in a village and children come with lights on their head. Your policies cannot be the same as a Tush school in Metama where these kids are speaking Queen's English. Are you getting me? So the things that are your own internal policies, you have to have policies that address those issues. Okay, there was another question. Let me see the questions that are there.
We also have 2 people whose answer up.
Okay, no, I saw someone's question here, but I missed it when I was trying to answer the other one. Someone was asking a question. Please, can you type that question again? Okay, let me check.
I will look for it and read it out. But we
Okay,
can ask those who want to mute.
Okay, I'm seeing the reactions now. What I was talking. Okay, I'm seeing them. Awesome session. Thank you. Okay, that's it from Olufuminayo 2B. Okay, Winners Treasure School says, thanks so much, Ma. You're welcome. Bookie Davis, thank you, Ma. God bless you. Abbas, good presentation. How often do you think school policy should be reviewed? That's the one I just answered. Kende and thank you so much. Very motivating session. Thank you too. Akim Isaiah, thanks so much. You're indeed a blessing. I have been enlightened. Good to know. Roslyn Odedibo, most school owners do all administrative work to cut costs. What do you think about it? Well, the truth is things are very tough in this country. You see all these things. If a school administrator understands administration and has decided to be the school administrator, my only concern usually is that they come with a lot of emotions and attachment in a way that might not be healthy for them to take rational decisions. But if they have that discipline to do it, why not? So people may be trained administrators and they can actually handle things professionally. But that's usually very tough to be your own school owner and also be the administrator. It's not easy to wear both hats successfully. But if someone can do it, well, why not? Okay. So Tony says, well done. His policies, child protection, medical health, security, finance, internal problems. Absolutely, Tony. Thank you so much. Edison Lovett, please, how do you give policies? Do you print it out and give the parents and all involved? Okay, in a school, you should have policies for parents. It's called the parent-student handbook. They should have that. If you get to my website, I actually have a template that I prepared all of these policies. And if you want to buy them for your school, I'll be glad to sell them at a very discounted price, okay, just for being here. Okay, so yes, you should give them. But this printing, remember we said you should review them as the need arises every end of school year. I don't usually recommend that to schools that are just starting to keep printing and printing. No, you can give them as soft copies. You can share them in a Google Drive and share to everybody. We're in the tech age and e-books, e-learning, e-everything. So you can have your e-handbooks. Nothing stops you. You tell them that to save costs, we have decided instead of you spending extra on this, we have decided to make it available to you on e or as a link. You can attach it to your website if you have one, and they read it from there. Or you have a Google Drive, or put it in your Dropbox, and they go there and just click on it and read. And regularly you share that link and say, please be reminded of what our policies are. There are cheap ways to do administration. Paper is very costly, or is it not in your own city? Dennis and Lovett, paper is not costly in your own city, right? It's very costly all over Nigeria. So you can you can just print. So instead of printing, you can share the link and then let them read from there. So even the schools that have bought my own handbooks, we have the parent-student handbook, we have the employee handbook, and then we have the boarding house handbook, 3 handbooks that I have. But you don't just carry it and use verbatim. You have to tweak it to suit your school because, like I said, every school is different. What that handbook does is to guide you through all the policies that every school must have. But then there are still some that some schools need to put for their own use, for their own internal use. Okay? So Molera says, thank you for the session. God bless you, ma. Please, who comes up with the school policies? Is it the administrator or the school owner? The administrator recommends and makes the policies, then the board approves. And in this case, if the school owner is the board, because some school owners are the board themselves, they are the board, okay? So in that case, the school owner serves as the board, okay? And then does the approval. But it is the responsibility of the school administrator to make policies, to recommend policies, to review them. And there's a process for it. If you want to learn more about policies, as I spent a whole session of over 2 hours teaching on policies, and I shared it on my YouTube channel free of charge. So I'm going to share that link here. So copy this link from here or to my YouTube channel, subscribe to that channel, and you're going to get that one on school policies and procedures. It's actually free though, so don't be afraid. Nobody is buying. It's not
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. Before we let you go,
not buying
we
it.
have,
You're not
we have
buying
to
it.
answer.
Copy this link. Can you see it?
Yes, we can see it. Yes.
www.youtube.com/c/Nancy Ekpezu. When you get there, just check creating school policies and procedures. I spent a whole session teaching it in details. Who does the policies, how to do it, the type of policies you should have. And after that session, you should be very grounded in getting your policies running in your school as a school administrator, okay?
Thank you so much, man. Before we let you go, we have 2 hands that have been up. We have Jagun Ogbada and then Ekyomado Hoyo. I guess they want to unmute themselves to say something. So please, let's start with Jagun Ogbada. Can you unmute yourself and make your comments?
Okay,
Sorry, is Sheung Ogbada, not Shegun.
Sorry,
Thank
apologies.
you so much for welcoming. No problem. You're welcome. Thank you so much. Although there are some questions I wanted to ask initially, but due to the explanation of Nancy, I think I've been able to understand some things. But just that, I just want to ask her about what to be done. I want to create a scenario whereby an administrator have actually done all what she has said and train the staff almost frequently, explain things, and then try to, carry them along with his or her administrative work. But in a situation whereby some staff are not ready to just go along, despite all efforts being made, what can be done in that kind of a situation?
Is there performance management in place in that school? Do they have goals that you've set for them? Do you have evaluation for them regularly?
Yes. Actually, let me say it's a new school. And like you said earlier, not all departments will be created being a new school. But of course, that aspect of performance appraisal have been put in place to check the performance of staff. But a kind of in a situation when some staff are kind of comfortable, not ready to move of their comfortable, I would like to put it now, zone or something, not try to kind of, this is the way I feel, I know it's being done or something, not ready to comply or not ready to get new things done, not ready to grow with new innovation, kind of. And several explanation, several training has been done for such staff. What do you think can be done, to serve it, to help that situation?
I still first you need to look at your recruitment. What criteria did you use in employing this kind of people? What were your
Okay.
visions? What were even your expectations in the first place? Were those
Okay.
met before you employed them? Are you
Okay.
now trying to force people who are already set in their ways and they were not, or you did not even make the expectations clear from the beginning and you're now
Okay.
forcing on them? Because I think it still boils down to performance management.
Okay.
Everything, a lot of what you have said still boils down to performance management, because if your people know that these are the expectations the organization has, these are how they're going to be evaluated, these are the implications of them not performing, then
All these are well explained.
it's not just being explained. It means that the performance management process is not in place. Maybe it's just
Okay.
at the end of the school year. There's something called an employee performance management system. It's
Okay.
really different from just evaluating people at the end of the school year. It's an
Okay.
ongoing system that occurs all through the school year, where there's communication about the goals and how they are being met, and it's a
Okay.
process until the end of the school year. What a lot
Okay.
of schools do is just to carry an evaluation form at the end of the year. They say, no, you're not doing fine. You are not
Okay.
doing fine. Everything
Okay.
still comes down to the performance management system. Remember, I didn't say evaluation.
Yeah.
The performance management system, of which evaluation is a part.
Okay.
All
And
right.
what we're doing now is that evaluating them, which is just
Okay.
a part of the performance management system.
Okay.
So what you need to do is to be trained on managing an employee performance management system.
System. Okay. Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
ma.
you.
Let's quickly go to Onyo Kiwadu. Can you unmute and ask a question, please? And
Good
then we
evening,
can.
everybody.
Good evening, Ekpezu. Ekpezu, I'm sure you found me on LinkedIn, right?
Yes, I want to appreciate you. I've read your book, The School Administrator, and it really helped me in everything that I've been doing in running the school. When I read that
Hey.
book, I was able to form policies for the school, which has helped us a lot in running the school. So I really want to appreciate you. But yes, I was communicating with you on WhatsApp and you did not continue the communication, so I had to stop.
Sorry, I must have been busy. But I'm glad that you saw the change of link, the link for this. I'm really glad that you saw it. You see, all of
Yeah,
this, I didn't even know that she bought the book. I can't even remember. Thank you. I didn't even remember
I
that you
did.
bought
I
that
bought
book.
your book and I read it, and it
Wow,
helped
thank
me a lot.
you. I'm so happy. So all
And I
of
want
you,
to recommend that book to every other person on this platform. Like that question she was asking now, it will help her to solve the question, honestly. I mean, it will help her to solve that problem. We really gained a lot when we read that book, The School Administrator. It helped me and my second. She's also here, Penny Erogun. She will attest to it. So try and buy that book. It will help you a lot in everything that you are doing with the staff, with the parents, with the children. The book is really good. Thank you very much. I also want to appreciate you. You are the one that linked me to Bumi Adedayo Foundation, and we've been gaining a lot from them. So I really do appreciate you. Thank you.
oh, thank you. I didn't even know all this. Thank you so much, Ekpezu. Please do me a video or testimonial on that book because I want others to get it. Okay, Halima Ishola says, how much is the book? How can I get it? Okay, so I'm still seeing other comments here. Thank you so much, Ma. We'll surely follow you up on Molara Wode. So all of you here, go and subscribe to my YouTube channel. Oh, it's free. You gain a lot. All these questions about policies, you see them. They do performance management. I've done a few videos there. Michael Oria Irepono, thank you very much. Very impactful. Thank you too. Abbas Morayo, job description, orientation, among others. Yes. Halimo, thank you so much. Today's class has been impactful. And Halimo, again, how much is the book? How can I get it? The book is 4,800 naira. And if you're in Lagos, Abuja, Calabar, wherever, Akure, or what, some people here have bought it even in Ondo State. We use Konga Express to deliver to any part of Nigeria. I'm currently in Abuja, and all the copies I came with here have been bought already. But some people bought the school and effective boarding house administration today. So if your house is boarding, you should buy effective boarding house administration, buy the school administrator's companion. Effective boarding house administration is 5,000 naira. The school administrator's companion is 4,800. Dear Educator, which is my first book, is 4,000 naira. And I will share, I can give you the details where to pay. If you want me to share my account details here, please, I'm very happy to do it. And once you've done that, you tell me the city where you're in, and then we can send it right there to you. Okay, so that is the account detail there. And it is 4,800 naira. And you will love my style of writing. It's written in plain everyday language, very easy to use, easy to understand, and very practicable, easy to practicalize and apply on your job. So you can check there for my name and the bank account details. It is 4,000. The school administrator's companion is 4,800.
I think you should type your number there too, so I can contact you.
Okay.
So thank you, Miss Nancy Ekpezu. Thank you so much for this enlightening session. Please, once again, you forgive me for my voice. Please bear with me. Thank you for everything you do. And we pray that God continues to bless you. We're not paying her for this session. She's doing it for us. She didn't even ask for a dime, in fact. I spoke to her. I reached out to her on WhatsApp. She agreed immediately. That shows how much, and there's someone you have to pay a lot of money to get to her. You can see yourself, 7,000 naira. You know, we are an NGO, but she's doing it for us passionately. We appreciate you. My ED was here earlier. She appreciates you also. Entire board of the foundation, they are aware we are doing this, and I'm sure they also extended their gratitude to you. So please, guys, those who are meeting us for the first time, we are Bumi Adedaya Foundation. This is all we do. We work with teachers, we work with school leaders, we provide opportunities for children. Just last week, we got a scholarship for a child in Ogun State where they pay almost 3.5 per annum, and we didn't know the child from Adam. So please follow us on Instagram, follow us on LinkedIn, everywhere. Just type Bumi Adedaya Foundation. We are everywhere. Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. You get to see a lot of opportunities from us. Also have a Telegram page that I will share on our Instagram page for people to join us. So this note, I would love to let her go so she can prepare for our 7 p.m. session. And for everyone who has joined, those who came in very late, we will upload the recording of this session on our YouTube page. We also share the recording with Miss Nancy also, who will also upload on our own YouTube page. So please follow our YouTube channels so I can get to see more videos. We've been doing this since last year. So we have lots of trainings like this that are available on our YouTube channels for free. These are things that you don't get for free, but we have them on our pages for free. So please follow us and enjoy the rest of the weekend. Thank you, everyone that has joined. Have a wonderful evening. Bye-bye.
Yeah, you too.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Remember to get to the YouTube channel now, so you don't forget YouTube.
Mr. Nomelu, I see you. She has left.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.